want to have some more time with Roy, please follow him through room number 18.
Thank you. Bye, Beth.
Thank you, guys. If anyone's joining us right now, if you're listening to us for the first time, this is Healers Network Virtual Fair. I do this every month. Starting next month, it will be held on the last Saturday of the month. So you can mark your calendars. And the beautiful thing about this is that you can listen to us anytime, any place, anywhere, meaning from your car, from your house, from your phone, whether you're, doing the dishes or, driving or just laying in bed or going to sleep. I don't know where you are, anywhere in the world. So you can participate. It's so cool to watch people join us and then they win door prizes or they are able to have some sessions from their phone while they're driving somewhere. And it was a life-changing opportunity for them. So I'm always looking for new people to be involved. You don't have to be a public speaker, but I'll help you become a public speaker. Meaning we all have a message to share in our life. What is your passion? What is your mission? What is your purpose? And what is it that you want to share with the world? When you stand up, if you had an opportunity to stand up on the rooftop of a building or a house, what would your message be to the world? What do you want them to know before you die? As Les Brown says, you can't die with your dream inside of you. So many of us spend a lot of time trying to fix ourselves and heal ourselves. And now it's time for us to help share what we've learned and what it took for us to uncover our wounds and our damages and to see the light. So, whether you're beginning and you're exploring and awakening and trying to figure out who you are and what you're going to be for the rest of your life, may this platform create an opportunity for you to have some idea of what you can possibly delve into. So I encourage you to go have some 5-minute readings with all the practitioners in room number 2 and have some time with them and see what it is that awakens you and helps you understand what you want to go a little bit deeper with in your life. Again, we're at the full moon. We're closing out the new year pretty soon. I have an event coming up next month on the 9th of January. Save the date if you live in South Florida. It's a women's retreat only. And we have limited space and I only have a few spots left. So let me know if you're interested. So coming up now, we're going to bring in Alison. Alison Whitney is local here in South Florida, just as myself. And today she is known as an intuitive healer, medium, mental health and preventive childhood abuse advocate. She's a writer, Reiki Master, Akashic Record, card reader, and Reverend. And she also holds a master's arts in dance movement therapy and counseling, survivor of incest, complex and developmental trauma. Her healing journey awakened her spiritual abilities along with igniting the passion to help walk with others through their depths of trauma. She currently works as a therapist and has long-term goals of bridging mental health and spirituality. You can find her at innerlightremembrance.com, innerlightremembrance.com. And you can find that's also her Gmail and her Instagram. So today she's going to talk about, again, how tools to move your mind from being in control of you to being in control of your mind. So go for it.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. As Sherry said, I'm going to talk about the mind today and healing on a mental plane. So a lot of us may feel like our mind is in control of us instead of us being in control of our mind. Or maybe you have been at a place like that in your life. I, for one, definitely was in a place like that in my life, which is why I'm sharing these tools with you of what I learned from my own education and just from my own journey of how I learned to feel more in control of my mind, because we have this body, we have a mind, we have a soul, and it's so important to learn how to feel safe in your mind and your body and your soul, and to make it a nice home for yourself. Because for myself, I definitely struggled with very, very intense negative self-talk, very dark thoughts for quite a long time in my life. So it was my mind was not a fun place to hang out in. And now my mind is a very beautiful place. So I share just this journey and these tools with you. And if you're in that place in your life as well, that it's possible to change and that your mind can feel like a nice space to live in. So we aren't really shown or trained how to use the power of our mind in this world. It's not a skill or a tool that we're taught in school, even though I believe it's something that definitely should be. And I felt very passionate about it that I joined a company at one point that we went into schools and really educated kids about mindfulness, meditation, and different social emotional learning skills, because just using your mind and knowing how to work with your mind is so important in this world, yet we're not given the tools how to do it at all. Then if you're conditioned very negatively in your environment, so from your family or even just the world, I mean, if you look at the world we're living in, if you watch the news, we are conditioned very negatively. And then if you grow up too, just in an environment where there's a lot of trauma or abuse, or even if you go through a traumatic or abusive situation in your life, just that event can really rewire your thoughts. And they just, whatever thoughts fire together, it like wires together and it creates these neural pathways in the brain that can be very deep and entrenched. So if you're consistently in an environment that is abusive or traumatic and it's causing a lot of negative self-talk, or you're being abused, that it's leading to you having this negative self-image of yourself, those pathways can be very ingrained and entrenched in our brains. But the good news is that the brain is very malleable and that we can change and rewire our brains. So today I'm going to talk about 3 different tools that can be used to help gain control of the mind. The first one is mindfulness, and then I'm going to talk about cognitive behavioral therapy, specifically this 3-column technique, and then lastly I'm going to talk about using positive affirmations. So mindfulness, I went over this in my playroom experience. We just did some mindfulness exercises, but mindfulness is living with intention in the present moment. And it's also without judging or rejecting the moment, and then without attachment to the moment. So often we're not even really present in our own lives. We are maybe so consumed by the past or consumed by the future, where the past already happened and the future is unknown. So mindfulness is really coming into the present and also just like not judging or rejecting the moment, which can be hard if the present moment is difficult, and then not attaching too much or like clinging to what is or trying to control it. So mindfulness can really be practiced anywhere. You can practice it I practice it while I'm doing my dishes, while you're driving, while you're walking. It's just really utilizing what I was talking about. And a really simple, easy tool to practice is being mindful of your breath. And when you do this practice, it also helps teach you that you have control of what you're focusing on. So bringing mindfulness to your breath is the practice is you just bring your awareness in the present moment to your breathing pattern. So your inhale, your exhale, and you keep just sitting with your breath. And when we get still and just bring our attention onto one thing, usually our thoughts will start to race. Maybe you'll feel an emotion in your body. You might hear something outside that takes your attention. So the practice is to notice that. Notice when your thoughts are steering your attention. Notice, if your feelings are taking your attention, and then coming back specifically to your breath. And the more that you engage in this, and even if you just do it for 5 minutes every day, this practice of like increased focus onto the present moment, onto like you're choosing what you're focusing on, really helps to rewire your brain, really helps to strengthen the parts of your brain that have to do with critical thinking, with attention, getting more out of your emotional mind and more into your like rational mind. So that mindfulness of the breath is a really powerful exercise to just learn that like I have control over what I focus on. And if something does take your attention, maybe something from the past is like ruminating in your mind, you're like, okay, I see you, I notice you, you bring your attention back to your breath. So that's one thing that I find is just, it's very simple, but it's incredibly powerful to practice it. And then other mindfulness exercises that are good to do. Mindfulness is very much, as we said, about the present moment. So what brings you very much into the present moment is your senses, your 5 senses. So you can go through each different sense and really practice exercises of mindfulness with those different senses. So you can, like with just seeing, you can pay attention to maybe just be really mindful. For me, there's like this tree outside. I can just bring my attention and be really mindful of that tree. And once again, like the mindfulness of the breath, if something tries to take my attention other than being mindful of the tree, I come back. You come back, you come back, you come back to the present. So similar with, you can do what you're hearing. You could listen to a song. You can just sit in your apartment and listen to the sounds that are going by. Smelling, you can smell a candle, flowers. Tasting, you can really be mindful. Just even having a meal and doing a mindfulness practice of like what you're eating and how it's tasting. Because so often, sometimes I'll eat a whole meal and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even like taste what I was eating. I wasn't being present. I wasn't being mindful. So those, and then touch. Also, you can touch. For me, I like to be present with like when I'm really petting my cats. Each of these different exercises is just a good tool of really focusing the mind, of making it more sharp, and that you have control over what you focus on. And you don't have to, a lot of times we get so mad if like something pulls our attention or we're ruminating on the past. The more you like fight that, the stronger it will get. So it's just like, okay, it's there. I'm not judging it. I'm not being mean to it. And then just bringing your attention back. So that's some of the different mindfulness tools. There's all kinds of different things that can be done. And then, so there's a practice called cognitive behavioral therapy. I learned about this in my program. It's really different tools and techniques to help learn how to shift your mind if it is in a very negative or irrational place. So I have this list of 10 different types of distorted thinking. I have saved it on my computer, so I'll try to put it up here after this talk. But they've identified like 10 different types of negative thinking. I won't go into every single one of them, but I'll kind of go through a few of them and then share like this tool that they give of how to work with if you have negative or irrational thoughts. So we all do. It's very human. It's something I still work on. Luckily, though, I used to have just consistent negative self talk 24/7. It was like an awful place to live in my mind. And I really did a lot of these tools to help move the direction of my thoughts into a positive space. So, an example of a distorted negative thought pattern is mental filter. So, you dwell on the negatives and you ignore the positives. Another one is jumping to conclusions. So, you can either mind read, you assume people are reacting negatively to you, or fortune telling, you predict that things will turn out badly. Another one we can do is we can magnify or minimize. So you can blow things way out of proportion, or you can shrink their importance. Then another one is overgeneralization. You can view a negative event as a never-ending pattern of defeat. So I'm sure that we can all relate to many of those that I shared. And then what CBT kind of does is there's this 3-column technique where in one column you write down your negative thoughts. So I've found too that it's actually really good to put your negative thoughts outside of you on a piece of paper, because then you can really see them like outside of yourself. They feel separate from then just what's running around in your head all the time. And then in the middle column, you identify what kind of distorted thought that you're having from that list of like 10 negative thoughts, distorted thinking patterns. So I'll try to put that list up here after this talk. And it's good to do that because then you begin to realize what kind of category of negative thoughts that you often fall into. And when I learned how to label some of my negative thoughts of like, oh, I'm doing that mental filter again, or like everything's negative and I'm ignoring the positives. Like when you label something, it gives it kind of a structure that you can work with and understand. So that was just kind of why I found it powerful. So yeah, you have the column of the negative thoughts, the column of like the distorted thinking that it is, and then in the third column, it's changing it to a more positive or rational thought. So, you know, I'm sure if you've ever heard talks of like how to change your negative thoughts, it's like if you have that negative thought, then if you have to replace it with something more positive and realistic. And at first, if you struggle with negative thoughts for a really long time and you're trying to replace them with more positive or realistic thoughts, it can take a lot of energy for it to like really stick and just change permanently. Like you might just try it a few times and be like, it's not working, but it takes like consistent practice and it can be really annoying and frustrating, but that is what you have to do. Like you have to do the work to really shift from negative to a more positive, rational thought. So I'll try to put that up there after this. And then lastly, I'll talk about positive affirmations. So I'm sure we've all heard of positive affirmations. They're really just these really positive, affirming statements. Like I have a list of 30 different ones. I'll also try to put that list up too. But like an example of one is I am enough. I have the power to accomplish everything I need to do today. I am in control of my thoughts, feelings, and choices. My past doesn't define my future. Every day is a fresh start with a new beginning to make my own. So, I mean, you can even just Google and put in positive affirmations or positive affirmations for growing in business, positive affirmations for bringing in love, any of that. Like, but the more you can use these, if you're in a negative space all the time, then it really is going to bring your mental state to a more positive space. I mean, when I was just inundated with negativity, I then just inundated myself with positivity to shift my mind. And I would put these affirmations on Post-it notes on my mirror. I would affirm them. It's really good to even say them to yourself in the mirror, even if you don't believe them. If you keep affirming that message, like you start to really believe it. Yeah, so those are some tools. I mean, there's plenty of other ones, but those are some of the different tools. The mindfulness, the CBT, there's all kinds of different tools of CBT. A lot of therapists use cognitive behavioral therapy. It's like a big core tenet in the psychology field. I know I use it a lot with people. And then positive affirmations too, of just affirming positive statements for yourself. So yeah, those are some tools to help gain control of your mind. I already did my playroom experiential where we went into trying different mindfulness exercises. Well, we mostly did the mindfulness of the breath one, and then talked about using mindfulness of the senses. And other than that, I'm still here today. I'm here till 6 Eastern Standard Time, offering just guidance, intuition, mediumship, card readings, Akashic Records, and yeah, so thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat or jump on and ask them.
Are we complete?
We are.
We are. Okay. So everybody, if anybody would like to win a session with Alison, put in the chat from 0 to 100, and she's going to be offering a door prize session. I think you're doing some remote Reiki, I believe.
Yeah, either like in person or at a distance, yes.
Okay. So we're going from 0 to 100, and I want you to write a number down on a piece of paper. And if you'd like to talk to her privately outside of this chat, because you might have any questions, follow her to room number 13. And after this, we're going to be doing what we call speed readings. We're going to open up the rooms and split you guys up, and you can experience some sessions for the next 25 minutes. So if anyone's listening to us right now on Facebook or Facebook or YouTube, please come in here and join us on Zoom. So I want everybody put in the chat from 0 to 100, a number if you like to win a session. You have to be here on Zoom in order to win. And Alison, I want you to write down a number on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Got it.
Okay. We will do a 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
14.
14.
So I got Leo.
Let me check. And I did this, I messed this up before where I didn't see the number before the posting. Leo, welcome. Okay, Leo 1. Leo.
I'll send you a message, Leo.
Congratulations, Leo. He said thank you. Robin said thank you. They appreciated your lecture. And thank you everyone for participating. And right now what we're going to do is speed reading. So Allison's going to be in her room. We're going to have all the practitioners that are available. We have Royden, Ducia, Allison, Ricky, Jean, Monique, and Lynn. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 different people that we're going to be putting you guys into some rooms, and you're going to get to know them. And if you don't feel comfortable or that's not what you want to do, and just pop out of the room and go into the next room. So this is an opportunity for you to be able to do is like a little bit what you almost call like speed dating, but it's speed reading. Get to know them and find out what they're about or what they're offering. It's like a introduction orientation, just like having some fun for the next 25 minutes. So if this is your opportunity to go to the bathroom, go walk your dog, go grab something to eat, take a break. If you're listening to us right now, you're not going to miss anything until 5 o'clock. When we come back at 5 o'clock, we're going to have Rika Kaplan in the main room, and we're going to have Monique Blake in the playroom. And we still got halfway there, guys. So I know you got things to do today. All of us got things to do today, but some of you just kind of want to listen and learn. This is like, coming on to YouTube and, and learning something new from people from all over the world. And at the same time, you have an opportunity to receive some sessions and clarity and answers and to have real life experiences and to win door prizes. Hey, Jean. Hey, Jean. So we're going to be
Should I go into my room now? Room 8?
Yeah. We're going to put everybody in their rooms. We're going to put Lynn in her room, and all the speakers are going to go in their room, and we're going to start moving people around, whoever's here.
You got it.
Okay.